Well, holy crap, do I have a ton of news for you guys today. It just keeps pouring in. We've got some news about Denzel Washington and Marvel Studios, believe it or not. I also have some news coming out that Kevin Feige made several statements involving Blade and Miles Morales' Spider-Man. We have some Disney news involving internal shakeups with who's running the show, which Disney clearly needs to do something about. And then also, we have a remake of a classic 80s horror film, or maybe 90s, I don't even know. Either way, let's just go ahead and dig into it. As always, be sure to give us the subscribe, the comments, the likes. All of that helps as our channel continues to grow. And be sure to visit criticalist.com. We're an entertainment reviewing social platform where you can review any movies and television shows that you're currently watching. You can make friends, join groups, and make lists. So come on over and review something over at criticalist.com or download us in Android and Apple app stores. So moving on to the news here, it's that Denzel Washington is claiming that he is currently having a role written for him in the new Black Panther film, or the third Black Panther film. And this is kind of wild because honestly, I would have, if you had put this on my bingo card as to Denzel Washington showing up in the MCU, I would have put chances close to zero. Now, granted, we have seen many big actors in the past show up in Marvel films, but this is during the decline of Marvel, honestly. And maybe this is them kind of trying to pull themselves out of that hole a little bit. And so apparently, according to him, it sounds like Ryan Coogler is still involved with the Black Panther movies. And honestly, I liked Black Panther 2 a lot more than Black Panther 1. I know that's a little controversial, but I just really didn't like that first film very much. But I digress. So anyways, on with this news here. Basically, not only did he announce that he's going to be attached to the new Black Panther film whenever that happens, he's also basically announced his retirement. So what he said is, after that, Ryan Coogler is writing a part for me in the next Black Panther. After that, I'm going to do the film Othello, and after that, I'm going to do King Lear. After that, I'm going to retire. And then apparently he just kind of smirked, flew some peace signs, and ended the interview or something. So basically he's doing press right now for this new Gladiator film, and he's talking about things that he's got on the horizon. And honestly, I think this is pretty interesting. I am willing to bet a very large sum of money that he is going to be playing a villain. When we have seen a lot of these really big actors come in and out of Marvel, they tend to be playing a villain role. And so this does work, and I think if they really want to do something big for this movie and for the MCU as a whole, bringing Denzel in is a good get. I mean, this dude is one of the last standing movie stars, I think. He is just still putting out great work. He's a phenomenal actor, just seems like a real stand-up good dude. And so I'm game for him being in that movie. I would watch it simply because he is in it, and I think that a lot of people know that, and so it makes sense why Ryan Coogler would try and snag him up for this movie. So, I mean, who knows? I'm game to see this. We don't really know a lot else. Like I said, this was just a little bit of I don't think it was a slip of a tongue, but it was him just saying, hey, look, this is what's on the horizon. And so it sounds like if he's talking about retirement, then they're really going to have to crank up the gas on this movie and get things moving along. But he does have a few things on the books that he mentioned as far as Othello and King Lear before that. So who knows? We'll see if it happens, when it happens. This could be one of those things where they write a villain for him and then he can't end up doing it and someone else plays the role. So who knows? But this is interesting news nonetheless. Now, the next piece of news here is, once again, more Blade news and a tiny bit of something else, but I did just want to mention it. We have multiple Blade videos on this channel at this point, like 2 or 3 at least, because this movie has just... it dies, it comes back, it's just, who knows? No one knows what's happening to it. And of course, I just said the DIE word, which has apparently gotten our channel in hot water lately because you're not allowed to say that on YouTube anymore, apparently. I don't know. Anyways, whatever. YouTube. So, all right. So the news here is basically that he's doing the press rounds as far as Kevin Feige, the guy who runs MCU, is doing some press right now. And what he said is, we love the character. We love Mahershala's version of him. And rest assured, whenever we change direction with a project or still trying to figure out how it fits into our schedule, we let the public know. You're up to date on what's going on. But I can tell you that the character will be coming to the MCU. So this isn't actually him saying for sure that Wesley Snipes is off the table, but it's also kind of alluding to that he might not be on it either, because he was talking about loving Mahershala's version. So, and that doesn't even really exist. None of us even know what that is. So I don't even know what that statement really means. He also touched on the Scarlet Witch as well. He also provided an update on Elizabeth Olsen's Scarlet Witch, though she did not survive at the end of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. She went missing from WandaVision, and basically he said, since Agatha, there have been a lot of questions about Wanda on fans' minds. So all I can say is that we're excited to find out when and how the Scarlet Witch might return. So it sounds like they're planning on bringing her back, which has been rumored anyways, but it's like, guys, come on. Like, can we just make some of these characters not last forever? I do understand them ending this character, and I don't necessarily think it was a bad move. Now, granted, I loved WandaVision. I thought that Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness was not great. So I don't know. We'll see if they bring her back. And then the last note here was about Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse and that character of Miles Morales. And he basically said that after this third Spider-Verse film is done, they are hoping that basically that the character Miles Morales can enter the MCU. And that would actually make sense if they were to bring in a older version, maybe even if it is the same character, but he's just a little bit older. They could get an older actor to play him and not a teenage one. And so there are a lot of possibilities there, and to just kind of bring him from Beyond the Spider-Verse or whatever the next film's called and into the MCU. So, but talks would have to happen with Sony because Sony owned the rights to that character. So that will be more tied up with Sony that Marvel is going to have to deal with, like they have been with all the other Spider-Man related stuff, unless Sony just finally gets rid of their stuff. But they seem to be holding on to it and trying to drive the Spider-Man brand into the ground as fast as possible from what I've seen. So I'm not going to hold my breath. But so it sounds like Blade is not totally over and off the table like we were predicting before. Now, this little piece of Disney Succession news, I guess you could say, is basically that they are discussing who the candidates are that are going to replace Bob Iger. If you've not been paying attention, Disney is struggling desperately. It's not doing very well, and people are not happy with what's happening internally over at Disney. And even when they brought Iger back in, it didn't really fix a whole lot. And so this news, as far as the one name that's being considered from the outside that surprised me actually, was that it's EA Games or Electronic Arts CEO Andrew Wilson. And if you've not been paying attention to EA, they aren't doing great either and are doing a lot of the same DEI, just a lot of the messy social stuff that Disney has been tampering with of late that's been killing their brand. Now, it says that basically part of this article, what they are pointing out is that they are looking at people inside and outside of the house. I think they need to look for people outside and not this guy. They need to look for somebody who's going to get the crap together and clean house over at Disney. For the names that they mentioned for internally, it sounds like this Pietro guy who's over theme parks and experiences, Chief Josh Amaro, and then an entertainment co-heads Dana Weldon and Alan Bergman are also internal. So like I said, I think internal choices with Disney is a bad choice, and bringing somebody from theme parks doesn't sound like a great idea either, because from everything I've heard, their theme parks are also not doing too great. So I really think that they need a full shake-up from the outside. They need to bring in somebody that is just disconnected from all this crap and that isn't going to try and send Disney even further off this cliff that they are on. They need a house cleaning. So I don't think that this is exactly great news. It does not bode well. So the very last piece of news, what I mentioned, was a horror remake, and it looks like Finn Wolfhard and Billy Burke, who I don't know who he is, are teaming with Jason Reitman. That was a little bit of a slip. Ivan is actually his dad, who did the Ghostbusters series, and Jason recently started the reboots of the new, or the, I guess, I don't know what they call them, of the newer Ghostbusters films. But basically, Reitman is pairing with this Stranger Things star and this other guy to basically redo Idle Hands, which was from 1999. I said it was from the 80s. I don't know why. It's a very 90s film, but I actually think this is a pretty fun movie. It's basically about some young teen's hand who gets possessed. It's a really fun film. If you haven't seen Idle Hands, I would recommend you go check it out. It's just very 90s type of thing, but basically Wolfhard apparently and this Burke guy have already done a movie recently that was in a film festival. It's called Hell of a Summer, and I looked it up. It's not out yet. There's not a whole lot about it, but basically it was at one of these film festivals, and Jason Reitman really liked it a lot, and he wants to team up, and that they're going to be putting this out probably through, it sounds like through the indie distributor that did Long Legs. So Who knows? I'm curious about this. I would be down to watch another Idle Hands. It depends on how, 2024, 2025 it is, because the other one was very 90s and I'm a 90s kid, so I enjoyed it and I think it's a really fun movie. So we'll see, but it sounds like they are partnering up, writing this thing and getting the ball rolling, so we might be getting another Idle Hands sometime soon. But that's a whole lot of news for today. I tried to bring it to you hot and fast. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about this Denzel Washington news. The stuff with Blade just continues to go on, and do you guys think that we should bring back or bring Miles Morales into the MCU? Is it worth it? Is it going to save the MCU? And what about Wanda? And then also just this Disney stuff is little interesting bits as well. So that's it for the news today, guys. Make sure to visit criticalist.com, create yourself an account, and drop some reviews, and just come say hi. And I will be back again with the news soon. If not, then at the very least, I will be back for a review. I'm probably going to be reviewing the new Dwayne Johnson Christmas film. I do not like watching Christmas movies in November, so I am not excited about that, to be completely honest, but I am really curious about it because there's been a lot of hubbub around that movie that I'm sure that we'll talk about if I end up reviewing it. But everybody take it easy, and hello to all of our new Criticalist users as well, and I will be back soon. Everybody, be good.